130 দেখে আমরা খুঁজলাম না বেসাইডে, আসলে ওই পিএস স্কুলেই এই কিউ এর ইয়া আছে, ওইখানে লোক লাগবে। শুধু যদি স্পেশাল স্কুল হয় সেটা ওই যে আমি আজকে গেছিলাম, ওটা শুধুই স্পেশাল, ওই 00400 নাম কি বলবো। আর যেগুলো যে এরকম পিএস দেওয়া আছে, ওদের যেমন 8টা সাইট আছে, 8টা সাইটের মধ্যে 2টা হচ্ছে শুধু ইন্ডিভিজুয়াল স্পেশাল, আর বাকি 6টা হচ্ছে পিএস এর সাথে, এখানে যেমন পিএস এর সাথে ব্রাঞ্চ আকারে আছে হচ্ছে স্পেশাল এরকম। ওই যে পিএস 182 তে গেছিলাম না, ওটাতেও ওদের ইয়ে আছে, সাইট আছে। এবং ওই স্কুলের সাইট হচ্ছে 12 জনের ইয়া, 12 জন স্টুডেন্টের।
আচ্ছা, প্রতি ক্লাসে।
Hello everyone, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay, welcome to today's session. So our main purpose is to learn about data analysis as a whole. Please let me know if you can hear me properly.
Yes.
Okay. So those who do not need, you can stop your video. So we'll be mostly working without video, because if you turn on your video, it may cause extra load on the bandwidth. It may cause some disruption. Okay, so data analysis is a very big field, but we also know that a big journey starts with a few steps. So no one is a professional at the beginning. Everyone starts with 1, 2, 3 or ABC. So my purpose for this class is to introduce you to very basics of data analysis. And I hope with these discussions we'll be able to have the courage to look forward in the field of data science as a whole. So data science is an immensely demanding field in today's world. You know that data is everywhere. So from the moment of birth till the end of life, everywhere there is data. So we are using a tremendous amount of data every day, knowingly or unknowingly. So we use our cell phone, we make our calls, we interact in social media networks, we take advantage of the ride services like Uber, a lot of other things. We do banking transaction using our cell phones, using our laptops, any kind of device or platform. So we are not only using data, we are also generating data. So when I just call a Uber using my phone, I'm generating a huge amount of data unknowingly. So there are a lot of different components are working when I call a Uber. So
sorry to bother you.
Service.
So some people waiting on the lobby actually. They are.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. Yeah. Okay, so I see someone has joined with the name Nokia 7.2 and other names. So I would request you to type in your correct name so that I can understand and who hasn't. So I was talking about requesting a Uber ride service. So once you just send a request or place a request, so you are generating huge amount of data, where your location is, how far you are from the drivers, who is the nearest driver, what is the estimated time of arrival. So everything even the road map, the faster map, or the most convenient maps, and everything. And when we start riding on a service, you get into the car and the car starts moving. So every second, every millisecond, so your phone, the ride service itself, and uh, the servers are generating huge amount of data, letting you know that where you are, how fast you are moving towards your destination, what will be the estimated uh, time of arrival, and everything. And in certain cases, you will also get some prediction about the traffic situation on the road. So everything is being calculated, and a lot of things are happening. So data is everywhere. So when you send an email, you generate data. When you like a status in Facebook, you're generating data. So when you tweet something, you're generating data. So everywhere data is there. So what the data is? So let me know if you can see my screen. Okay, so what is data? The first thing we should know, what is data? Data is nothing but just a piece of information. It's a fact that has some value. So it's simply a piece of information of importance. So not everything is a data. There may be a lot of information around, but not every single piece of information is a data. Data has some meaning and some importance. It can have some commercial value. It could be statistically important. It could be commercially important. It could have some descriptive entity like that. So, do we really use some of the data analytic techniques in our daily lives? Yes, we do. When we read a book, sometimes we go to the index to find out a keyword, where the keyword is. We search in Google. So we are just making the advantage of the whole process in a very convenient way. When you search a keyword on your system, it triggers a series of processes in the background. So it searches, and your search just triggers other search engines in the background that crawls over all over the World Wide Web to get you the data for you. So sometimes you may notice that your data may generate or bring thousands or even millions of records based on the indexing system working behind. So why do we need data? We need data for business various purposes. So mostly for business purposes. So when you place an order in Amazon, so you just select an item from many. So you set certain criteria that I need this thing, I need this color, I need that precise model, I need that screen size. So a lot of things. You're setting parameters. So from your browser, you're just setting some filtering criteria, and at the back end, the entire database is getting searched, resulting in the correct result or output for you, and it is being displayed back to your screen. So that's what you see. Sometimes decision support. For example, you are owner of a business and you want to see that how good your business was for the first 2 quarters in a fiscal year. So you need to look back and you can get some idea that over the past 2 quarters I have done this much business, and based on that I can set a strategy to move forward. So data gives you an idea about how to plan your business, which products to stock in, and how to make the entire business processes more efficient so that you can generate optimum amount of revenues. So any other idea how you use data in your life? So business trend analysis. So that is another example. So how good a particular product is performing. For example, you have gotten a TV with LCD monitors or LCD display. So how good is doing that compared to an OLED monitor or TV? So you can compare the business trends and patterns using that. So you can forecast how your business will be in the upcoming years. Forecasting. Okay, I already told you about GPS navigation. So marketing research. Okay, so some recommendation system or predictive analysis. Or recommendations. So I can give you an example. If you start some products, for example, if in Amazon, so after a couple of days, you can see, or you may see an email in your inbox saying that you searched that particular phone, and here you can like similar other products. So that means the machine itself realizes your pattern of searches, what you are searching, and what criteria you are applying to search a particular product. So based on this trend, the computer realizes and understands that what you might look for in future. So based on that, it automatically generates an email notification back to you. So this is a way they make more business and eventually more money. Okay, and another example could be simulation. So many of you are familiar with driving simulator softwares or even flight simulator. So over there, every movement you make and everything that interacts get translated into data that brings precise environment on your screen. Even your seat may tilt back, forth, or sideways as you control the controllers in a flight simulator. So a lot of things happen. Without this data, there would be no business here in modern world. So everywhere data is used. That is why there is a tremendous amount of demand in the field of data analysis. So United States is currently in demand of more data analysis people than actually there are. And among other IT fields or IT jobs, this is rising at a faster pace. Because everywhere there is data, no matter be it a medical application, it's an insurance application, it could be a banking application, transaction, stock market, everywhere data is there. So, and it is human beings that are required to analyze this data, because everything, every transaction, every movement, every use of data must be understood by human beings. So there must be a person behind to understand what is happening, why this is happening, and why we can get benefit out of these happenings. That is why data analysis is coming in place. So anyone has any idea that you want to share with us, please? Anyone? Anything else? Okay, no problem. So I'm going to the next thing. So we understood that we are using data, we are generating data, we are making use of data. But actually, who makes data? Okay. So I told you already, when I use my Facebook account, I post, I generate data. When I send an email, I generate data. When I tweet something, I generate data. When I use my phone, I generate data. When I use GPS navigation, I generate data. When I use my credit card, I generate data. When I go somewhere else, doctor's office, hospital, everywhere. So there's data. When you scan a barcode, it generates data. So when you buy a product and visit a store, it generates data. So everywhere. Okay, so human beings generates data. Okay, also machine generates data. So when you navigate uh, your car using a GPS navigation system, so machine itself starts generating data, and there are lots of sensor like refrigerators generate data. There are some home devices like Alexa generates data. Your car generates data. Your traffic tool system generates data. Everywhere there's data. So human being generates data and machines generate data. And whenever you just start or turn on your computer also generates data. So there is a service that keeps tracking of all the error messages, all the problems, all the issues, and these get logged by itself so that some other people can troubleshoot it and see what happened actually. Even when you started or restarted last time, that also gets stored there. Okay, so our purpose here is not to become a data scientist or something very much theoretical. So our purpose here is to become automobile mechanic, to be precise, because we don't need to understand how databases process data. We don't need to understand the algorithm and everything that is happening to process, generate, and make use of data. Hello? Someone is talking? Okay. So what our purpose is to become proficient with the tools and technologies so that we can capture data, we can store data, we can make meaning out of data. Okay? Any question or anything, if you want to share, please go ahead.
How we can use the data to analyze, to find out the problems inside our organization?
Yes. We'll go towards that, but in that first introductory class or session, it is really complex at the very beginning. But hopefully, we'll be going over to that point. We'll learn those things as well. Okay. So data gets generated or data creation. So this is the first step. Okay. Then we need to capture the data. And once we capture the data, there must be a place to store data. Data has no physical existence in the computing system, but it requires some kind of storage system where we can store the data. Store data. So data comes in very different shapes and sizes and formats. So we need to clean the data. Okay. Data cleansing. Okay. Data analysis. Analysis. Okay. And finally, out of thousands or millions of data, when we get the data, we can present the data after analysis in a precise way so that we can have meaning out of the data. So think of a bar diagram or a chart or a pie chart. It gives a visual impression of many data. So it becomes easier for understand and to follow. So finally, reporting or dashboarding. So these are the basic steps or what we should do in the process of data analysis. That means data analysis is not a single step or not a single process. It involves a number of processes together. So overall, end-to-end data processing happen like this, from creation or generation of data to capture, store, and ultimately reporting and dashboarding. But the process doesn't end here with the data. There are some people who looks into data, finds out the patterns of data inside. They apply very advanced techniques. You may have heard of machine learning or artificial intelligence. So with that advanced techniques and capabilities, people can train computers to do similar things based on the patterns of data. So that's an advanced topic. So far, anyone has any question or any idea to share, please go ahead. Okay, so shall I go for the next step? Okay, so what do we need to become a successful data analyst? What shall we start? Okay, there are many approaches to become a data analyst or data scientist. So here our approach is very simple and very easy. Assuming that many people are new to this field, some people here who have joined have no prior background in that. In that case, I'll start from very basics. So although there are some people who might have some exposure or experience, so who have prior knowledge, please contribute your knowledge to other people so that they can understand, and let's have in the same level. Okay, so the first thing we need is we have our curiosity. We must be curious to see and understand what is happening, why we need data, how to analyze it, how can I make it simpler to make meaning out of data. So curiosity is a must, you have to be. Okay, some people say it like intellectually curious. Okay, so we have to be curious. We have to spend or dedicate some time. We need to dedicate some of our time to know the tools and technologies available in the field of data analysis. But also, this field is really changing so dramatically that you have to keep your eyes open to understand and keep updated with the changes. That is the thing. And technology wise, we need to learn some tools and some technologies, out of which we must have some basic Linux knowledge. So Linux is a kind of operating system, and this operating system is popular because of mainly two things. Linux is a really robust system. Please mute yourself if you are not talking. So Linux is a very powerful and a robust operating system. And another feature that must come in is that it is very secure. This is why most of the servers are based in Linux. And Linux actually make up the backbone of the entire systems or entire internet, to be precise, because most of the servers are built on Linux operating systems. They are less likely to suffer from virus attacks or any other attacks, and their security system is very, very strict. So we need to know about a programming language. So there are a lot of programming language to do data analysis, but for convenience and for appropriateness, I would go through language. So Scala is language of choice so that we can do data analysis. Okay, so these are the things we need to know as a beginner. And for us, we'll be trying out some other things. So very basic things, we will learn about SQL. It's a language that we use to interact with databases. Database is the place where we store data. Structured query language. So we need to know this is very easy and very simple. We don't need to configure complex things or set up very heavyweight systems in our computer, except for one thing, that is Cloudera Quick Start VM. So I told you earlier that we need to store data, we need to capture data, we need to analyze data, we need to create reporting or dashboarding, a lot of things. And also data comes in many different shapes and sizes and formats. So in order to process data in different formats, we would require different tools and technologies. So Cloudera is a kind of built-in platform. It's an integrated system that has everything. So this has everything required to analyze data. Okay. So it's a kind of built-in complete package or one-stop solution to process the data in your system. But it has capabilities beyond. So if you need some additional features and functionalities, you can have those features and functionalities as add on to this virtual machine. So I will share a link where you can try to install this Cloudera Quick Start VM. So anyone has any question or anything to share or discuss or debate or anything, please?
Yeah, I have some recommendation, you could say. Maybe we're going to ask some stupid question and everybody would laugh about that. Don't even think about that. Just ask the question and just be stupid. Just to educate yourself. Don't think about others. Just try to educate yourself so that we can learn together, have our concrete knowledge on that, and do good on our job.
Yes, that's a good point. So here we have gathered together with a common goal so that we can understand, we can learn, and we can help one another to have the basics in order to get a better job. So that is our main purpose. So don't feel shy if you have any question. So if you feel shy, you can ask me or you can ask in the group that we have created, or I'm going to share this document with you so that you can also place your question here anonymously. If you feel shy that this question could make me feel shy, so how can I ask that question? So you just go here and type in your question. So leave it there. I hope I'll be able to get back earlier or later, and I'll get an answer with you. But it's not like that I have to give answer to all your questions because I don't know everything. So whatever I know, I am open and free to share with you. But there may be questions, even it could be a silly one that I don't know. So I need to learn that. And in that case, you can help me as well. Okay, anyone has any other question or anything to know?
In the road of in the road of learning something new, if I make any mistake, how can I analyze it for myself? What would be the process?
So if you make some mistake, how you can correct yourself? Okay, let me check. So did you ask the question in the chat box? I'm sorry, can you please repeat it?
I'm writing that one.
Yeah, please. Okay. Okay, please forward your question. I'll be looking into that. So no one has asked that question, that what could be our career prospect? How much salary that I can expect out of my data analyst role? Okay, so this is just a beginning. We'll be learning these things, Scala and SQL and all other things that comes inside Cloudera Quick Start VM. So there are a lot of other tools and technologies. So our main focus will be in two main things, there is Hive and Spark. So these are the two main things we'll be learning eventually, and we'll concentrate on that because most of the jobs require inevitably these two things, two tools. So we will learn that. So let me share my screen to show you something. So here, okay, data analyst, okay, salary in the US. So let's see. So data analyst or some people can make around $70,000. Okay. So, and eventually you can see from Indeed, so they have find out this figure. So average salary for a data analyst is 65,000 per year. Okay. So this is just the basic. So the two tools I already told you, Spark and Hive. So let's see how much salary does a Spark developer earn. Spark developer. Okay, so the average salary range for a Spark developer started from 95,000 to 100K per annum. So this is an average range. It could be even higher or even lower, depending on how you can sell yourself, how you can learn yourself, and how you can sell yourself in the market. Okay, so this is just a rough idea about how much a person who knows all this stuff very well can expect. So I'm going to a job site that is dice.com. Here, let me show you. So this is a career site for IT people. So you can search your job here. So let's say I know Spark developer. Okay, Spark developer. Okay, location anywhere. Let's see one of the job descriptions so that we can get some idea. Okay. Hardware Spark developer, Jacksonville, okay? $65 to $70 an hour. It's W2. Can you see that, everyone?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. And what are the requirements? Okay. Okay. So the requirements, let's go down. You see, only a few skills are required. Hadoop, Spark, Python is equivalent to Scala. If you know Scala, you already know half the way of Python, and Hive and SQL. So I have already mentioned here in my chat that we are going to learn these things. Okay? Hive and Spark. Our main focus will be these two, but we also need to know these things. Okay, sorry. Okay. So we'll be learning Spark, already mentioned there, Hive mentioned there. So Hadoop, Spark, Python, Hive and SQL. I mentioned most of them. Instead of Python, I mentioned Scala, and that is good enough. Okay. Any question or anything from you? Okay, not a problem. So, okay, let me take another one, just another one. Okay. So for remote positions, you see currently there is a demand of 2,600, around 2,700 open position for Spark developer job, and there are a lot of remote positions as well. So that you can work from home as well. Okay, remote, 100% remote. Okay, let's see how much it can get for us. Okay, salary depends on experience. Okay, not a problem. But again, you see, SQL is coming, Spark is coming, so like that. So remote only, and another thing. Okay, Spark Scala developer. Okay, you see, two combinations up to 75, 67. So 67 is more than 120K per year. Okay, so to encourage you or to inspire you, so there are a lot of demands in this field, and the salary is really, really very impressive. Okay, so any question or anything? Okay, not a problem. So let me go back to the previous topic. So data, I was talking about data, and data is coming in many different shapes, sizes, and formats. Okay, many forms. Okay, like text. So whatever is written there, it's a data. Okay, and a table like this is also data. Like name, address, phone number, city. Okay, like address, some street. Okay, and city, like that. So these are all data. Okay, so text, audio is data, video is data. Okay, anything, even the icons you see, the symbols, the emojis, all are data. Okay, and the data is stored in computing system. So whenever we are talking about data, we're talking about data that is related to the computing systems. The data we can store in the computers, the data we can generate using the help of the computers, even through the user interactions included. So any kind of data. Okay, so text has characters, that means is single alphabets, numbers, or alphanumericals. So all these are text data. Table has things like this, some shapes and sizes, like column headers. Okay, these are columns, and these are rows or records. So this is more organized. So these are tables. Okay, audios, videos, lot of other things, and we can store these data into a file like this. You can see. So here it's a kind of country. It's a data related to countries of the world. So you can see the country code, country name, region, and all of the information. And there are hundreds of. So you see that there are 240 different countries or territories in the world, and all the related information here. Okay. So data can have well organized structure like these with column headers, you can see, and columns. Sorry, these are columns, these are column headers, and everything that are present horizontally is known as a record or a row. Structured data like this has two main things. It is it has a precise size with column headers, columns and rows. It's a combination of columns and rows with column headers. It could have column header or it couldn't. So that's not a big thing, but data must be related to one another. You see, for this one, it's Anguilla, and it must be a Caribbean country. So there is a relationship between these two fields. And all this data in a record or a row refers to a particular country or particular object or particular entity. So we'll learn about these things even more later as we start. So today is a kind of casual discussion just to get you through the introduction of the field and to get started. Okay, so data can come in many forms. So that is how we see the data. But when we think data from a structural perspective, we see three different types of data. Data could be classified into three broad categories depending on its structure. The first one is structured data. Data like a table, a column, and the one I already showed you, structured data. Number two, unstructured data. So unstructured data doesn't have any specific shape and size. So if you think of your email address and go inside one of your emails, so you can see a lot of things. You can see text, you can see some notes, special characters, you can see some image inside, a lot of other things. So everything together is a kind of unstructured data. And there is another kind of data that is known as semi-structured data. So it is somewhere in between structured data and semi-structured data. So it has some particular patterns, yet it is not well organized. So this type of data is mostly generated by machines like some sensors and others. So structured data is well organized in tables. In tables like this, the one I have already shown you up there. Unstructured data, no particular structure. And semi-structured data, not well defined structure, but has a regular pattern inside. Okay, a regular pattern inside. So we'll learn more about this in upcoming classes. I think we are going to join again on Saturday morning, 9 o'clock Central Time. So we'll discuss about these things in detail. So are you getting these things? Any question, any doubt or anything?
Not really. You're very straightforward. This is understandable.
Okay, thank you. And anyone else?
So can you just give us an example of semi-structured data, please?
Yes, I have already told you that I don't want to make things complicated. I'll show you how semi-structured data looks like, what it is coming from, and why do we need those, and what to use actually. So I'll show you eventually with structures and tags and everything in between. So I don't want to complicate it. Just this is a beginning class. So from Saturday, I'll start very precisely. I'll show you each and everything from the beginning, how to start and how to do and what to do. Okay? Never mind. I'll definitely cover those things. And this is why I'm here for. Well, so again, so data have different classifications actually. So some people classify data based on the quality of the data. So you must know, I think you already know that some people categorize data based on like qualitative data, and some people classify as quantitative data. Okay, so quality data refers to something that can be described. It's a kind of descriptive. And that is only numeric. You can express this quantitative data with numbers only, like weight of a person or height of a person. Height, weight, okay, length. So this can be measured in numbers, and this falls under the category quantitative data. And qualitative data is not like that, it's quite different. So here you can refer to a gender as male or female, like gender. Okay. And some particular feature that is inclusive or not. For example, does it have presence of something, some attributes? Okay. And for example, color, the color of your car. Okay. So, and I was talking about the presence of some attributes, like whether your car has an autonomous pilot system, pilot system, okay, piloting system. Does it have? The answer could be yes or no. So that is another example of a descriptive data or qualitative data, or that is equivalent to true or false, or false. So does your car have an autonomous piloting system? True. That means your car has one. If it is false, your car doesn't have an autonomous piloting system. So things like that. And in some cases, we can also refer to gender as male or female, just with this character, not in numbers. So these are very, very basic idea about what data is and how we can generate and how we can make advantage of it. But the data analysis itself is not very easy unless you know something about how to do it or how to have control over the process. So we will learn that in from Saturday morning. So I'll show you, and by this time I will share the link for that, a Cloudera Quick Start VM. So if you have this one, you will require some kind of high configuration computer. So for that, you would require recommended RAM is 16 megabytes. Sorry, 16 gigabyte. I'm sorry. Okay, 16 gigabyte and i5 or i7 recommended. This is recommended. Okay. So you should have a computer like this in order to run Cloudera Quick Start VM. But no worries if you don't have. I think I have one on my system, so I can show you how to do and what to do. But if you have your own, you will have more control over your entire system. Okay, any question, anything to share or ask, please?
I have a question. Do you have any plan to advise like Python, SQL? Which thing we should know? Because it's a lot of things. So everything maybe not need to know. Maybe there is some important things. So I hope in future you will advise about that.
Yes, that's a good question. Thank you for bringing that on the table. So the thing is that yes, each of these tools is really very big field. Okay, so I will give you some foundation level of knowledge, and I will show you the direction that you should learn this thing. So it is not possible for me to discuss about each and every single thing about a particular tool or technology. For example, SQL. So SQL itself is a job role, and it requires a high level of expertise to become a SQL developer. So with these, I am planning to take as many as 30 classes. So with these many classes, I'll never be able to take you to that level, definitely. So it is not possible. So
Yeah, but you can show that like this thing you should know. Like only name or only I don't know how can tell it. Like uh, this function or these things you should know. Like you can show in like W3 school, and you can show us like this thing is important and you should learn that.
yes, definitely, yes. So I'll touch almost everything of main topic, and I'll show you that what to learn, and eventually, when I'll be discussing about each and every single tools and technologies, I'll tell you that please focus this thing. That could be an interview question. So you should take care of that. So in interview there could be anything, but I know which things come quite often, which are most frequently asked questions. So I know those things, so I can tell you. So that will have you some readiness or preparedness for the interview, and in your interview you have to crack your own interview. So for that, you need to prepare yourself accordingly. And what I expect out of this thing, please be cooperative. So ask questions and try to give the answer to the question being asked, and help one another. So if you help, there is no loss. At least your level of knowledge will be concrete if you help someone. You cannot steal your knowledge. Okay? So please do that, and definitely I'll touch some intermediate level of skills required for a data analyst role. So I hope please don't be worried about that. Just one request: do the things that I ask you to do, follow my instructions, and don't leave any gap. If you have any doubt, you are free to ask me. Ask again and again. So take a note of the thing that you don't understand or really you need some more explanations and let me know. I hope I'll be able to guide you through that.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. So I need a couple of minutes break. So please stay connected. I'll continue like 15 more minutes. I'm just coming back in 2 minutes. Is it okay,
No problem.
everyone?
Take your time.
Okay, thank you.
সৈকত ভাই,
আসসালামু আলাইকুম ভাইয়া।
ওয়ালাইকুম আসসালাম। কেমন আছেন?
এই তো আলহামদুলিল্লাহ ভালো, ভালো আছেন?
এই তো আলহামদুলিল্লাহ। তো ভাই, আমরা যে রিকোয়ারমেন্ট গুলো দেখলাম, যে স্কালা ডেভেলপারের যে রিকোয়ারমেন্ট গুলো চাইছে দেখলাম, আমার মনে হয় ওই স্ট্যান্ডার্ড অনুযায়ী আমরা আগায় গেলে মনে হয়
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, মানে টার্গেট ফিল আপ হবে যেটা আমরা করতে যাচ্ছি ইনশাআল্লাহ।
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, ওটা আমি বলতেছিলাম যে আমরা ওই স্ট্যান্ডার্ড অনুযায়ী আগাইতে থাকি তাহলে মনে হয় আমরা তাড়াতাড়ি রিচ করতে পারবো আমাদের যে টার্গেটটা আছে। যে বাদ বাকি যে টুলস কিংবা যেগুলো আছে এগুলো তো আমরা পরে কভার করতে পারবো আল্লাহ চাইবে।
জি জি,
আগে তো
মানে
জবে ঢোকা
ভাইয়া যে পাঁচটা আর কি, যেমন হাডুপ, স্পার্ক, হাইভ, আর হলো পাইথন আর সিকিউর, তাই না ভাইয়া?
হ্যাঁ, স্কালা, হ্যাঁ, স্পার্ক স্কালা অলমোস্ট সেম।
ও আচ্ছা আচ্ছা।
বাট এবং আপনার যদি স্পার্ক অথবা স্কালা জানেন, পাইথনের মোটামুটি একটা ভালো আইডিয়া হয়ে যায়।
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা।
সো এগুলো মোটামুটি সিমিলার। এর মধ্যে আমার মনে হয় হাডুপ মানে লিনাক্স বেসিক কমান্ড গুলো আমাদের সবার আগে শেখা দরকার। এটা আমার মনে হয় অফলাইনে করাই ভালো সবার জন্যই।
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা।
কারণ এই লিনাক্স বেসিক কমান্ড গুলো যদি ইয়ে করা হয় তাহলে এটার জন্য 3-4টা ক্লাস বের হয়ে যাবে, মানে ইয়ে হয়ে যাবে।
আচ্ছা হ্যাঁ, এগুলো আমরা মনে হয় নিজেরাই করতে পারবো।
না, এটা ডিসকাস করা যেতে পারে এখন যদি টাইম পারমিট করে, তাহলে ইমরান ভাই যদি ইয়ে করতে পারে তাহলে কেন নয়।
আচ্ছা, আমি আর শাহেদ ভাই মনে হচ্ছে এটা ইয়া করতে পারবো, দেখি প্র্যাকটিস আমাদের এটা আবার একটু শুরু হয়েছে আর কি।
কোনটা?
এই যে লিনাক্স মানে বেসিক কমান্ড গতকাল শুরু করছে।
সরি, ইন্টারাপ্ট করলাম। আমার মনে হয় লিনাক্সটা আমরা ভাইয়া যেটা বলেছেন আর কি, আমরা অফলাইনে করে ফেলাটাই মনে হয় বেটার। ইটস এ হিউজ টপিক।
হ্যাঁ, আর এটা
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ ভাইয়া, ঠিক আছে।
Well, everyone, I'm back, and here we are towards the end of our session today. So again, so data has many different shapes and sizes and forms and formats as well. Okay, so I showed you one format of a table, that is a CSV format, comma separated values. So in general, if we just try to see here, you will see a lot of different formats. Okay, so you see how many different formats and all contain data: CSV, text, spreadsheet, XLS, ODS, XLA, SLK, CSV, Macintosh, Mac supported, XML, Unicode. So a lot of different file and formats. Okay, and this is just a fraction of thousands of different types of file formats. There are even more complex. So with Excel, we cannot compress the file, but there are some other techniques or formats with which you can compress thousands of megabytes of data into just 50 megabyte or 100 megabyte. That means you can apply 10 times more compression to a file. So with the smaller size, you can have fewer storage area, you can transmit over the network more efficiently, and you can do a lot of things. So when data comes in so many different file formats, so you need to have a jack of all trade to process the data, to analyze the data. And here comes Hadoop. So Hadoop is an unified, it's a unified data processing framework. That means all you need is inside Hadoop. Whatever tool and technology you need to analyze data, no matter what type of data it is structured, unstructured, semi-structured, it is Excel file, Parquet file, Avro file, text file, flat file, JSON file, no matter, Hadoop can process everything. Okay, and Hadoop is just kind of operating system. Just think of an operating system. It has everything to make a process running and up. So Hadoop does that. And Hadoop as an operating system must be present inside a system or virtual machine or a computer. So Cloudera Quickstart VM is that virtual machine where you set up Hadoop operating system. It is not actually an operating system, but it's kind of operating system. And to install this operating system or kind of operating system, you need to have a computer. And this computer has no physical presence. You cannot touch it. You can install this inside another computer. And it has no physical existence. It's just a virtual or logical machine. A computing environment within your computer. Okay? And I already told you that we have data coming in three main formats. Structured format. So to process structured data, we need Hive to process structured data. So it's a kind of monopoly. Hive cannot process any other data that is not structured. Okay, so we'll learn that. We'll try to understand Hadoop ecosystem. And SQL also, I already told you that it's a structured query language. That means it is also limited to structured data. It can process structured data only. Structured data only. And Spark is a kind of jack of all trade. It can process every kind of data. All kind of data. Okay. And Python is Scala. So it's a customization thing. With Scala and Python programming languages, you can tell the framework that, hey, I want to process my data in that way, this way, I want to see the data this way. That means this is a customization tool. You can think of, I'm not writing the right thing, but to give you an idea or an impression so that you can have some understanding, especially for the absolute beginners. To customize your data processing needs. Okay, so that is, I think, pretty much for today's session. I think I have tried to give very simple introduction to the field of data analysis today. So any question or comment or experience if you share is welcome.
How long the class will be on Saturday?
And to address the question, so in this learning voice, how can I analyze my mistakes? So It's a critical and logical question. So in order to analyze your mistakes, you have to be open to know the right process. You have to check with authentic resources and documentation available. You need to ask, in case of doubt, to an expert in the field that I'm thinking of that or I have done that. Is it okay? So in the learning process, if you write a code, have a peer review with your teammates, ask the expert, run the code to see the expected outcome or output. Okay, refer to the documentation I have already told you. So there are a lot of websites for a particular tool or technology. Like if you just go and search Hive, you'll see thousands of different websites, a lot of tutorials. But it is better to search only the authenticated websites. For example, Hive is a proprietary tool from Apache Foundation, to be precise, Apache Software Foundation. So you go there and check that their documentation, and sometimes if they have newer versions of software, they provide release notes, what changes have been brought about, what are the new things have been added, what are the new features and the functionalities. So you'll get a precise explanation on what is new and unique for that particular new version. So you can check that as well. So
Thank you.
So like for the classes, I will continue for an hour, but no more than 1.5 hours, like 1 hour and 30 minutes, no more, no longer than that. So I think if you are attentive enough and you are curious enough to ask questions, share your ideas, or to bring in new things, ideas, new knowledge nuggets, that is welcome. Okay, so I'm sharing this document, though this is not some kind of professionally organized document. This is just a rough things as I have been talking to you. So any questions or anything, feel free to reach out to me. So if you don't have any question, so I think we can conclude our class for today.
Actually, remember, I have a question. Like, if you give us an overview, what we are gonna learn from the beginning to end, that means what tool we are learning first, then what is second, then then maybe I think it's gonna be better to understand everybody.
Oh, okay. So if you can see my screen, so our learning agenda. It includes, like, first, to give you an idea about the Hadoop ecosystem. So inside Hadoop ecosystem, there are some other components like HDFS. So that's a file system. Okay, I'll cover that. And then a tool known as Scoop. Okay, to move data. Okay, to her, I'll discuss that later. Then Hive. Then I'll give you some idea about Pig if time permits. It's okay. Towards the end. Okay. and A is base. That means Hadoop database. Okay, I'm writing that way because it is written there. A is base. Okay, and finally Spark. So that is our final ultimate one. Okay, and also before I start HDFS, alongside I'll cover some Linux commands. Okay, so that will be together. Okay, a little earlier or later I'll cover one after another. Okay, and again, in order to start Hive, we should have solid understanding in SQL. So these are the things I'll be going over. So you got the answer?
Yes, that answers my questions.
Okay, or any idea? So the thing is that some of you may ask about Tableau or some other visualization or MicroStrategy. So if you understand that, all these things, you can easily pick up those things. Those are very easy. If you know joins, you can easily create joins in Tableau. That will be fairly self-explanatory. You can get going with that easily without anyone's instruction or any other tutorial. Okay. So anyone has any question before I leave for today?
That means we are. I have another question. Sorry to interrupt. Is that whatever is in our learning agenda? That's all we are going to learn, right? But is there anything that could come up on our way that we are going to learn, or something? Kind of any tool or that improves our skill, or this kind of stuff like Jenkins or
No, actually. So as per my plan, so with 30 classes and to cover these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I missed one thing, that is Scala. Okay, so with these many classes, like 30 classes, it is not possible to go beyond these.
okay.
So we have to have very strict timeline actually. So if you want to learn, you can take some courses from other sources to know about Jenkins and other scheduling tools like Uzi, Airflow, or other things, or even AWS. So yes, we can have a couple of discussions on AWS just to introduce you to idea, especially S3. Yes, so we will go through that as well. So that's pretty much. And I will tell you that other things will be required like Git. So if you watch a couple of tutorials on YouTube, you will be able to know how Git works and why we need to use it. Okay, so there are many things. So there are hundreds of different tools. Even only inside the Hadoop ecosystem, there are as many as 50 different tools. So it is not possible for us to cover each and every single thing. Okay, so everyone, goodbye for tonight. See you on Saturday morning. Okay, from Saturday we'll be more organized, and I'll share some of the tools that you should download on your system. So I'll give you the links as well.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay then.
All right, thank you.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay, bye.
Thanks for the heads up and
Thank you so much.
nice lesson.
Okay, bye.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.